Hey everybody, Kyrie091 hanging out with you. Boy, oh boy, are we going to have big fun today. Taking a closer look at a mod that is rapidly becoming one of my favorites. Let's check around at what kind of fun we can get into with Immersive Engineering. Wow, look at all this stuff. So I found a village here. We'll get started by checking out this village. One of the first things that you'll need to get started in your immersive engineering career, what is this? Salt ore, huh? Is a book and a lever you put together to make the engineer's manual. Now the engineer's manual is the guide for immersive engineering, and it tells you how to make everything and you know what everything does, all that kind of stuff. So it's all pretty it's a pretty straightforward deal here. One of the first additions that is really handy to find is if you find a village, like this one here has a wall around it, by the way, which I think is friggin' awesome. I've never seen that before. I've never seen a walled village, but hey, that's the Minecraft we're living in. Anyways, villages will now have this building that has the hammer in front of it, and there's usually these wooden storage crates out front, which are basically like, ooh, that's good. Ooh, look at that's good. Which are basically like chests that can hold their inventory. So wooden storage crate, pretty cool. Anyways, these buildings are made out of this stuff called treated wood. And treated wood, let's get an axe here. Treated wood is going to be one of the biggest parts of your immersive engineering project. So I suggest you get as much of it as you can if you do happen to find one of these places here. Another blueprint, that's the same one. And grab their hammer. There's always a hammer out in the front there. I'd recommend grabbing that too. The villagers here will trade. What do they trade? If you give them steel, they give you emerald. Okay. Just immersive engineering junk. Anyways, so yeah, it does add this cool house with the green wool for the flooring. And grab the treated fence and treated planks as much as you can while you're here. You will need them. Look at that. Look at that. Look at that village. Wow. I've never seen anything like it. Have you guys ever seen that before? I've never seen that before. I think it's freaking rad. Alright, let's keep moving. So this mod actually requires a ton of steel. And obviously, there are a few different ways that that one can make steel. I think that getting your steel production up and going is probably one of the first things that you should start with. You can use any mod's steel, so if you don't feel like making steel the way that Immersive Engineering says you should, you're free to make it however you want. But let me show you what they add for the purposes of making steel. First thing you're going to need is a coke oven to make some coal coke. Coke oven is built like so. You can see the recipe for it right there. I'm still in creative mode. I think I am. Yeah, I am. That's okay. I can do this part in creative mode. I usually don't. I don't know. Creative mode's not even that good for testing, in my opinion, but it's good for flying. So, once you build the coke oven in a little 3x3, note that this one is not hollow. Like the Railcraft coke oven, you would leave this middle block hollow. Here, you fill it in. Right-click it with your engineer's hammer. And boom, you got yourself a coke oven. So let's go ahead and throw some coal in there. It will start cooking the coal up very, very slowly. The resulting product will be this stuff here, coal coke. You get that, plus you will also get some creosote. You'll get this stuff here, creosote. Yeah, I guess you can't dump it in the world, but there it is. The creosote, if the oven fills up with creosote, it'll stop working. Luckily for you, that takes a while for that to happen. You can empty the creosote out of the oven by putting, one way to do it would be to get some empty glass bottles and to put them right here. And then as the oven fills up, it'll automatically fill the glass bottles and keep the thing empty for you. And yeah, so that's one way to do it. Another way would be to pipe the creosote out. I'm going to use Extra Utilities transfer nodes to show you what I'm talking about. So let's let this thing do an operation here. Alright, so you can see we have 500 millibuckets, or about half a bucket of creosote oil, as a result of getting one piece of coal coke. So then if we get our transfer node and slap it right on the bottom, it'll grab that out of there, and now it's no longer in there, and we put it into, this is where the stuff gets real cool, guys. Put it into this big old tank here. This is a fluid tank. If we want to see how much is in there, you can see this one has a lot. It's got 140 buckets. Now it's got 141 buckets because I just dumped some in there. So yeah, you can scoop liquids in and out of here with buckets or bottles or whatever. You can pipe liquids into the bottom. You can also pipe liquids into the top. There's an input up top. And you can get liquids out of it too. So if you were to get a transfer node, let's get them real quick here, and slap a transfer node on the side, it should... Oh, that's right. Hang on. I think you have to give this thing a redstone signal to make it work. Let's find out. Hey, there it goes. And I think that with a redstone signal, I think that you don't even need the node. I think that you just put a pipe here. And let's see if this works still. No, it doesn't. I guess you do need some type of transfer node. So Immersive Engineering does add its own pipes, these fluid pipes you see right here, and these don't require any type of anything pulling the liquid. You just give it a redstone signal, and you can see that gradually it is filling up this tank over here. If you want to increase the rate at which it fills things up, you can drop one of these bad boy fluid pumps. Nah, not right there. You wouldn't want to put it. You can drop one of these bad boy fluid pumps and tell it to input to that side, output to that side. Hook back up you. Okay. And these things do require power. They require RF power. So we can drop an energy cell on there. And then if we turn this on, it should quickly fill up because the pump will increase the rate at which it pulls liquids out. The pumps can be used for a couple of other different things too. We'll get to that in a little bit. So, yeah, that's the basics of how you get yourself some creosote. So what can you do with this creosote? Well, let's find out. Scoop up a bucket of it. Get ourselves a crafting table. And how about some oak planks? Get a bunch of oak planks. So, let's put our crafting table down. And with a bucket of creosote, you can use bottles, buckets, cells, whatever. You put planks around them and you get some treated wood. So remember that treated wood we took from the village? Well, that's how you make it yourself. You can make treated wood sticks by doing this right here. Typical stick recipe. And all these other different treated wood items. Stairs and different looking treated wood if you put it into a crafting table. How do you change them? I think... There, like that, apparently. Okay. Yeah, there you go. So you just put a single piece into a crafting table and you can turn it into vertical planks if you want, you know, for the purposes of decorating or whatever. So yeah, there you go. Anyways, and the treated wood is used in all kinds of recipes. So let's start talking about the power gen system now. Oh no, we haven't finished talking about steel. Blast furnace. There's the recipe for the blast furnace. In my opinion, it's a little bit easier to make than the Railcraft blast furnace. First of all, it's only a 3x3 instead of a 3x4, and it doesn't require a magma cream in the middle, and it doesn't require soul sand like the Railcraft one does. So I think this one's a little easier to make. Anyways, after you build the structure, simply right-click it, and boom, you got yourself a blast furnace. If you were to open up the interface here, pretty simple. Coal coke in the bottom, iron in the top. Very, very, very slowly. You can see the progress arrow starting to move there. This thing is going to cook the iron into steel. Steel is used a lot in this. Steel and creosote you're going to use a ton of. So get your coke oven and your blast furnace. Get them rocking and rolling ASAP. And your big fluid tank. Let's talk about this bad boy. So, sheet metal. And we have 4 of these things. So one of my personal favorite things is this big tank right here. It's pretty easy to make. You just put 4 of these treated fence posts, and then you start building the rest of it with this sheet metal blocks. I'll build this one on camera for you. I'm not going to build everything on camera for you because there's just everything in this mod is a freaking multi-block, and it's awesome if you ask me. I think it's so cool that there are so many multi-blocks. I love multi-blocks in general, but not enough mods have worthwhile ones to do a whole lot of. So we right-click and boom, there's our big old tank. Let's break a block on here and do this. Come up this way and break this top block here. Now, if we build this up, I think one more layer like this, and then put the cap on it. I'm pretty sure that's all we need to do to turn this into a silo. Silos are freaking cool. Silos are rad. They're just giant storage units. You can store items in these. I actually have one that I've already built up over here, and you can see how it works. We got a chest up here. Right now there is wheat in the silo, so if I were to open up this chest and give it some wheat, let's see. You can see it is filling up with that wheat that I gave it there. I'm not sure what the capacity is in the silo. Suffice it to say, capacity is pretty darn high. Let's start talking about the power system, guys. Alright, so I built this little room right here. Let me show you what we're going to do with it. Let's slap you right with some of the treated planks and treated sticks. You could make yourself a water wheel. And, yeah, you slap them like this, like so. And boom, we got us a water wheel. Let's get a bucket of water. And go up here and start pouring some water onto our water wheel. I need some more planks. Did not think this one through. Alright, so we're going to put some flowing water up here. And it should start to turn this wheel. I hope. Alright, well, it's not turning the wheel, and I think I probably know why. Oh, it's turning the wheel. There it goes. You can see the wheel in there turning. So, you don't have to do 3 wheels. You can simply put 1 wheel and turn that, but why would you want to do that when you could do 3? So then we'll slap a kinetic dynamo. I want you to think of dynamos as the, kinetic dynamos are how you generate power from things that move. Like this water wheel, for example. So I think we want to turn this around. I don't know how we want this to be facing. Let's go in here and find out. Let me go take a look at this wheel. Yep, that's perfect. Let's put our wheel back. So now that we have power being generated, we need to get that power out of there somehow. Well, how to do that? Let's take a look. We're gonna need, we'll use their batteries. The Immersive Engineering adds these capacitors. They're just like any other battery. You could use any energy cell you wanted. So let's say you don't like their capacitors and you wanna use just let's see. Say that you prefer the thermal expansion ones and you want to use a hardened energy cell. You can do that and it'll work just fine. So I'll demonstrate that for you right now. The only thing is that the way that the power gets moved around is pretty darn cool. Instead of having those static conduits like what we're used to seeing, we have instead these wire connectors. You slap them on like this. Let's see, let's turn this side into input. Remember that inputs are blue, outputs are orange. So this side is an input. Now we can input power into there. And we can input power into this guy over here, this thermal expansion. So now we right-click with our wire. That's how you make the wire. That's how you make the connectors, by the way. Right-click and hook it up, and boom. Should be hooked up right there, and we'll right-click and hook this one up there too. So, alright, by the way, you have to click the wheels onto the kinetic generator, and then it should work. That's why I was having trouble there. Anyways, so now we should hook this up to here. And if we hook this up to here, we can see that this thing is starting to gain power pretty slowly. It's not a tremendous amount of power. I mean, it's free power from a water wheel, so what do you expect? But that is one way to get power with a kinetic dynamo. Another way is this bad boy right here. This giant windmill that you see right here. It's hooked up to a kinetic dynamo. That also generates a bit of power. It's not a tremendous amount. But if you are, and it also, by the way, it's made with just entirely with treated wood. So it's pretty easy to make, just some of the creosote oil and some wood and you're ready to go. In case you're not noticing, treated wood's going to be a big part of this. There's also this improved windmill, which is the same thing, only bigger. It generates more power, but it requires some of these tough fabrics, which are made with industrial hemp, which is made by growing industrial hemp seeds, which you can find all over the world just by punching tall grass. Same thing as before. You know, this don't pay any attention to this convoluted wire mess I have here, by the way. You don't have to do it that way. You can make it look nice and pretty. A cool way to move your power around is to use these bad boys here, these wooden posts. So let's put a few of them out and take a look at what we can do with them. So, if you right-click the side, oh, by the way, here's a recipe. Boom. Bricks, and then a couple of treated wood fences. You right-click the sides of them, you can add arms to them. And they look pretty darn cool. Let's put a couple arms up there. And then as you can see, we can place like these connectors, not right there, like on top, like this. And so you could run power, you know, to whatever it is that you're trying to power. And you can do it in style. So yeah, you can make stuff that looks pretty darn cool by running these wires around. Obviously, you can get all kinds of cool ideas for how you could make cool stuff with this. I'll let you guys have fun with that. This is the lowest form of power, the LV wire. There is also the MV wire, which is made with electrum. And to move MV power around, you will also need MV wire connectors, which are pretty easy to make. MV capacitors are for storing and moving it. Basically, it's just the amount of energy that you're moving. Right now, there's really no provisions in place for things to blow up like there were in IC2. That's not a concern. But, yeah. Okay, then when you get to HV, the system works a little bit different. So, it does use steel and aluminum to make your HV wires. But when you, let's see, how do I, when you want to actually transfer power into stuff, HV wires are a little bit different because you have to use these relays. And I don't think you can, where can you put relays? There's only certain places you can put these damn relays. I can't remember where they are, but there. So let's see. And let's get us some HV wire and check it out. Sorry that I'm not Direwolf 20, guys. I know it must suck to have to watch me give this silly mod spotlight that I'm doing here. So there's some HV wire. If you want to move tons of current, you're going to need HV wires to do that. So for the bigger, more powerful machines, you're not going to be able to get by with just these wires. The two last types of wire are not actually electrical wires. They are decoration only. You have to use these structural cable connectors, and then you can use either the steel cable, or you can use the hemp cable. If you ever need to remove, I'm above a village right now, and it sounds like they're having a hard time down there. If you ever need to remove wires without breaking the thing that they're on, you can simply right-click them with these wire cutters, and it'll let you take them right off of there without actually breaking anything. So why would you want to have something like this around? Well, let me show you. Let's see. This mod adds one of the coolest things I've ever seen, and that is it adds the engineer's skyhook. This one's a little bit tricky to make. It does require steel, and it requires a mechanical component, which you'll be making about 1 billion of these. But let's get ourselves an engineer's skyhook and check out what they're all about. So, with an engineer's skyhook, if you right-click on a structural cable connector, you will slide down the cable like so, and when you let go, you'll stop sliding down the cable. So, engineer's skyhook, great way to get around. Slide down this cable. Boom. You could put something fluffy at the bottom to land on if you wanted to. Whatever. Also, note that the skyhook can be used with power wires too. Let's see. I don't know if it can be used on HV, but yeah. So you can even you can even use them on these wires right here. I don't think you can use them on the HV ones, but you can even use them on like this wire. So if you needed to do something with your power system and you needed to get up there, you could slide around on the wires with your skyhook. Keep in mind that you do have to transform the power down. So if you're using, you can see we have the HV transformer and the regular transformer from Immersive Engineering here, and it's not very hard to use. So if you were transforming LV to MV, you'd need one of these. If you needed to transform some HV, you could use one of these. I'm not sure what this one does. I guess this one is adjustable, probably. Let's take a look at it real quick and see. Oh, that's cool. It tells you how much energy's been transferred recently. Anyways, I'm not 100% sure how to use these. Keep in mind the spotlight is not meant to be be-all, end-all. I guess this is just a current transformer. I'm not sure what that does. I'll let you guys figure that out. So, there you go. Let's start having some fun with this power now. Let's say that you have a furnace and you don't have access to any coal because all you have is a water wheel or a windmill or whatever the fuck you have. Well, no problem for you because you can always do this. Bam! Bang! Set this to output mode on the side, and let's get ourselves some LV wire and hook this up. Alright, so you have to set one of the sides to input like so, and then you can see the thing is filled up with power. You can see in the Wayla tooltip there. So then if I take some sand and put it in the furnace, you can see that it is cooking my sand. It's using up some of the energy from the heater up there to cook up the sand into glass. So this mod doesn't really have you know, a little furnace like a thermal expansion furnace or anything like that, but it does have the external heater, which you can slap on top of a vanilla furnace. So I think that's pretty darn cool. This is the assembler. Let's take a look at how to put this thing together. Where are you, assembler? Heavy machinery, are you? Yes, there you are. So, this is built like so. This book will be a handy guide because it'll spell out how to build everything. So you can see it's showing us how to build the assembler right there. Block by block. And once you have put it all together, you simply right-click it with the hammer, and you get the finished product. The assembler is pretty easy to use. I put conveyor belts in front of it. The mod does add conveyor belts. I don't know if I already mentioned that, but it does. And I've already programmed 2 recipes in. I told it how to make chests, and I told it how to make iron ingots using ore berries. 2 things that you conceivably might have at some point. So let's drop some oak planks on there, and it should grab them up. And it's turning them into chests, and as it makes them, it is spitting them out the other side. Note that conveyor belts will deposit into inventories. They won't just drop the item on the ground. You can just put them straight into an inventory using conveyor belts. So let's say we had an iron ore berry farm, and we had a bunch of iron ore berries laying around. We could just drop them on here, and this thing would grab them up, and it would start spitting iron ingots out the other side. Power connects to the top like so. Boom. That's the assembler. Let's come over here. This is my favorite machine. I love this machine right here. This machine is the grinder. Or crusher, I'm sorry. The crusher. Let's take a look at the crusher. There it is, crusher. So the crusher requires a ton of hoppers up on the top. You can put your cursor over this question mark to see exactly what you're going to need. And you can see how to make the crusher there. The design is kind of interesting, I think. It uses a lot of these engineering blocks. Some of those do require steel, but as you can see, even those that don't, this thing requires a ton of steel. Steel fences, steel scaffolding, lots of steel. So you right-click it once you've built the form, and boom, you got a crusher. So let's check out this crusher. Let's drop some iron ore inside of this item dropper here with the redstone clock and watch it tick out. And there it goes. It's going to fall in. The crusher's going to crush it up and spit it out on the other side. as those little iron dusts. Pretty cool. This over here, this bad mamma jamma, this is the arc furnace. The arc furnace is a different animal. It's a mean machine. Let's see, they should be spitting them out over here, I think. I don't know where the output is on this guy. But as you can see, it can receive tons of power because it has 3 power inputs on the back. The arc furnace is one of the most advanced machines. Yeah, I'm not sure what happens to the iron that we're making in there, but it's in here somewhere. There it is. Iron ingot. Okay, so it cooks it up for us and puts it right here. There is a way to get it to automatically eject. I would have thought it would come out the back. I guess that's not happening. I'm not too sure why it's not working. So, balloons. Let's talk about balloons real quick. Balloons are neat. Balloons are just things that you can place directly in the world in front of you. It's just one of the cool little handy things. They're great for building because you can build. You can place them. Well, let me show you. This is a spotlight after all. So check this out. Balloon. I can just go, bam, and it pops up. I don't have to put anything underneath it. Bam, there it is. See, I don't have to stack it up on top of anything. So it's great for building. Let's take a look at this guy. This is the metal press. Many recipes will require the use of plates, and that's how you make your plate mold right there. There are other ways to make plates, by the way. You can make them with an engineer's hammer just by squishing an ingot. You can also automate making them right here by slapping this onto the bottom of your metal press, whose recipe or building instructions, of course, you can find inside the book. This one's pretty easy to make, actually. Let's make it a little bit lighter outside. And if we put some... Let's get some iron ingot, and we'll drop it in there. And we'll watch this thing do its thing. And here they go. Watch. Blam! Yeah. And I have a conveyor belt here that has a hole in it. This is called a dropping conveyor belt. It has a hole in it, so every time something passes over it, it'll drop it into the inventory below it. So there you go. That's how that works. Looks like this thing can't keep up with the rate of this redstone clock up here. Better break all that stuff. Alright, so there you go. There's the metal press. There are a ton of other things that you can make with this mod. For example, you can make a biodiesel system that's something akin to what I would do with forestry, where you would get, like, you know, you would make ethanol basically out of apples in a squeezer, and then you would use a fermenter to turn it into biomass, and then still to turn it into ethanol. Basically, yeah, you can do that whole system, only it's much bigger. It's much larger because you have to make these giant multi-block structures to do it. All of them require the engineering blocks and then fermenter or industrial squeezer. There is a... Let's see, where is it? Where are you? Diesel generator. This thing is rad. Let's actually put that together right now. Okay, let's try this out. There it is! There is our diesel generator. The diesel generator is pretty darn cool. It has redstone control on the side. By the way, anytime you see a machine that has this little red square on it, that's for redstone control. You can throw a lever or some redstone, conduits or whatever you want to add redstone control. You slap it onto the side there. The energy output's going to be right here on the front, if I'm not mistaken. I got this big old radiator on the back. Oh no, that's the energy outputs up on top there. Those. So, yeah, this is the diesel generator. Let's see. Where do you put in the fuel? I don't know. Let's find out. Boom! So this thing is running. You can see it has that cool radiator fan back there going, producing some smoke. You can hear it chugging along. I have it running on Buildcraft fuel right now, this big tank right here. It can also run on biodiesel or any number of other different fuel options. Yeah, I got the HV wire connectors here, running some HV cable up to it. I wonder, oh, by the way, with HV, you can only attach one wire to each contact point. So, I'm just curious what would happen if we ran I'm gonna be finding this out right along with you guys here, because I don't know what to expect. I wonder what would happen if we ran some LV wire connector to a machine. Let's just get something basic here. Let's get a thermal expansion pulverizer. Remember that this power can be used with every mod that takes RF, so theoretically I should be able to go like this. Let's see what happens here. And you can see the pulverizer's filling up with power. So if you're a big thermal expansion fan or Ender IO or whatever, you can still use this power system. I guess that there's no problem with hooking this up. I don't know what the purpose is of the transformers, to be honest. I'm thinking about it right now, and if I can do this, I don't really need a transformer. I could just slap it on the capacitor. But there you go. I guess the transformers would look pretty rad if you slapped them up on top of the, what's it called? Alright, let's get a transformer and see what it looks like, how it looks up there. So if we went up on top of this thing right here and put a transformer up there. Ooh, I like that. Oh boy, that is cool. Okay, I like that. I can kind of get it now. Alright, so yeah, that is the basics of the machines. There's one last thing I want to talk about. I probably shouldn't have saved this till last because it's nowhere near as cool as some of the other stuff that we've talked about. But let's go ahead and cover it anyways. That is, let me clear some of this. The engineer's workbench. This is a pretty cool little deal here. Look, it's this little workbench with like a vise on it and all this. So the engineer's workbench. There are a lot of different tools that you're going to come across, and there are a lot of different tools that you're going to come across, and you need to use an engineer's workbench to actually interact with them. For example, if we made ourselves this revolver, made like so, you can kind of see how it's done here. We made the revolver. We might want to add a bayonet or a magazine or something. So we would take the revolver, put it up here, and then we can start adding cool stuff to it, like this magazine and this bayonet. Now when we grab our revolver back and hold it in our hand, we can see that it does have the bayonet on the front that we can use to stab people, and it has the extended magazine. For something as, let's say that you wanted to make some shotguns, some shotgun shells to put in your revolver. You want to fire shotgun stuff, I guess. So it will tell you exactly how on the blueprint. Where do you get the blueprints? Well, you make them in a crafting table, or you could find them in villages. This one actually found in a village. And so I put it in here, and anytime I move my cursor over something, it tells me exactly what I need. So if I wanted to make buckshot cartridges, I'm going to need to put some empty shells, I'm going to need some gunpowder, and then I'm going to need some iron dust. So let's get a stack of gunpowder and put it up there, and then let's get some iron dust added. You can make any type of iron dust. You can use pulverized iron or whatever, and boom, now I got some buckshot. Just make it daytime. And if I shift right click with my revolver, I can open up the interface. I can fill up the chamber here with shots. I can add stuff to the extended magazine, and then I can fire. Look at that. And you can see the little GUI in the bottom right. You can see the shells like emptying as we move through, and then of course I can get my empty shells back and I can refill them. There are a lot of different types of ammunition that you could make. Let's go look at some other ones here for the revolver. We can make the high explosive gunpowder TNT. That sounds cool. Let's get a stack of TNT, put it up there, and let's get a stack of gunpowder. There, and we should be able to make the high explosive, right? Oh no, we need a empty casing. You don't need the shotgun shell one for this. You need the empty casing. There, empty casing. Now we can make the high explosive, and let's go ahead and throw some of these up here and see what we get. There, check this out. Boom! Imagine getting hit by that if you're a bad guy. Alright, what other cool tools can you make with this thing? Oh, I can't pick up the blueprint until I pick up the empty shells. Okay, what other cool tools can we make with this thing? Well, it does. We do have a railgun at our disposal. The railgun is pretty epic. It has this scope we can add to it, which I really like. Of course, in order to use the railgun, we're going to need to get ourselves a charging station. Let me fix that NEI thing. Let's go over here by where we have power, and we'll charge up our charging station. I'm gonna get rid of you. Put our charging station right there. We need to put a connector on the back and give it some power. Boom, boom. Charging station should be filling up, and it is. Let's drop our railgun in there. While that's charging, let's get ourselves some rails. The component rails, not the actual tracks that you drive on. Let's get some component rails. Let's get some standard rails. Alright, we got ourselves some standard rails. Is this thing done charging? Alright, so we can fire our railgun by holding right click until the little power meter on the gun itself is at 99, and we can fire. I'm actually firing rails right now. That's what we're shooting. We're shooting actual rails from Railcraft. I added the scope to it, so that enables me to do this and zoom in. So I can zoom in and shoot this cactus. Boom. Look at that. Direct hit. That's the railgun. So, we also have these things called shaders. You can apply them to various blocks like balloons. Or, you know, let's see what this one looks like. Ooh, I like that one. What else do we got? What's this one look like? Ooh, that's cool too. Not only balloons, but you can also slap them on. Let's get ourselves a cart. So if we had some mine carts, we could put these shaders on here too. Like so. What's this one look like? Ooh, I like that one. So there you go. You can decorate your carts and stuff like that. That's pretty darn cool if you ask me. One machine that I'm not actually going to build for you, but I'll tell you about it, is pretty freaking epic, is the excavator. The excavator, okay. So the excavator has to be used in conjunction with another machine. Let's go over this way. I have set up a thing here, which... I've set up a thing way over here. This is the core sample drill. You give it some power, and it will check the chunk that you're in for ores. It'll tell you what ores can be gained from that chunk. In this case, it says no minerals are found. That's a bad chunk. That's not a good place to build an excavator. But let's say that we check the core sample, and it said that we had found copper. Let's say, oh, we found copper. That means if I set up an excavator, I'm going to get 68% copper, 26% gold, and 5% ferrous out of that excavator. Let's say that it says that I found iron. That means I'm going to find iron, ferrous, tin, and some dense iron. You see how that works? Let's say that it says we found lapis. We'll find these ores in this proportion in that chunk. So excavators don't actually dig into the world like a quarry does. Excavators just pull up ores basically out of nowhere, but it only gets ores depending on where you put it. You have to run core samples first before the excavator will, before you know what you'll get. I guess you could just blindly build it wherever you want, but the excavator is a pretty big machine. It requires a lot of different cool stuff, and you have to build the outside structure, and then you have to build this wheel here that goes in the middle. And the final product, man, you know what? Maybe I should build the damn excavator. I don't know. Maybe I will. I'll do it right now. Alright, so let's take a look. Boom. There's our wheel. And there's our deal. So our wheel deal. So this is the excavator. Let's see if we can give it some power. Okay. Bang. Whoa! There goes it. There goes that thing. I was going to use this relay right here. I was going to try to do this number. I'm going to go like this and hook it from here to here and then from there to there, because relays, that's how you use HV relays, by the way. There are no other relays. There are no relays for anything else. So as you can see, this thing is just going to dig away, and it looks like it's getting a lot of sand. look at the buckets are all full of sand. So I guess that's all we're gonna get out of this biome because we're in a desert. And I didn't do a core sample first, so I don't know what we're gonna get. But yeah, there you go. That's how the excavator works. It requires a ton of power, by the way. As you can see, it's already more than half drained this HV capacitor. So I don't know, man. I feel like it would need an entire diesel generator just to run one excavator. I don't know. Anyways, guys, that's gonna do it for this spotlight. I hate to even call it that because I didn't show off everything. There's so much more about this mod that I haven't even like talked about. There's so much to it. I mean, like, you know, barrels that can hold fluid when you break them to, you know, I think that's cool. There's all kinds of stuff, man. There's all kinds of cool things that you can make just for decoration and just for building. I highly recommend checking out this mod. Immersive Engineering is a wonderful mod. It's becoming one of my favorites, and it's given me a reason. Honestly, it's given me a reason to keep playing FTB. I was getting kind of bored. Oh, look at this thing is stuttering now because it ran out of power. It's trying. It's trying. I was getting kind of bored of doing the same thing with like thermal expansion and Ender IO, so I'm glad that Immersive Engineering came along and gave me something to look forward to. So thank you, Immersive Engineering, for being so wonderful.